So here we are, Westminster Mall. This is Wednesday, October 29th, and this is the last day that this mall is going to be open. Today, all the tenants have been told they have to have everything out of each of their businesses, what few are left, by today. And we're going to take one last walk around. This isn't a dead mall video. I'm not somebody that does dead mall videos. I know there's a fascination with dead malls, but this is the mall I grew up with. This is the mall that, meant a lot to my childhood, and quite frankly, helped shape who I am today. And I'll get to that when we're inside. But, yep, over there is the old Sears. This, I believe, this Target back here, I'm trying to remember if it was May Company or I don't remember what store it was, but it was a department store that turned into a Target. But anyway, we're going to go inside and take one last walk through and reminisce a little bit about my history and the history of this mall that was opened in 1974, I believe. So this thing lasted like 52 years. Let's go inside, take a look. A lot of people here taking photos. Last chance to take a picture in front of a place that meant a lot to them. And I was actually here yesterday and met a bunch of people that were here also reminiscing, and we had a lot of conversation about memories of the mall, and they were all around the same age as me. I'm 55, by the way. And we kind of just talked about memories of this place. As you can see, they still have the music pumping in here. Now the last major thing I think this was here, which is now a closed restaurant. I think it was a TGI Fridays years back, but I think it was also a Wendy's at one point. It was just a Wendy's. But screwing to demonetize my shit. But fortunately, I'm wearing the lapel mic that shouldn't pick up the music too bad. I was just here, God, not that long ago. And the sign was still up on this building. Man, I came here only like 2 weeks ago and there were still some businesses operating. One of which was a place I always hit every time I came here, the Cinnabon. And now it's gone dark. Yesterday, I actually talked to the owner of this particular business, who told me ever since COVID, basically, they struggled, and that the mall struggled since COVID. That it was doing pretty well until COVID, and COVID definitely killed this mall. I mean, look at this. Now I have a really interesting story that pertains to this food court and Evil Dead. If you happen to watch my Evil Dead collection video, which will probably be out before this video, it'll probably have already come out, but I tell an interesting story about something that happened in this food court in regards to an Evil Dead prop I own. Now this used to be Dairy Queen / Orange Julius. I used to come here all the time. I would actually just jump off the freeway on the way home, pop over here, grab an Orange Julius, and that was kind of a routine until they closed. They closed a few years ago. This was like the last man standing, this restaurant right here. They literally, I think, were the last one to close. And as you can see, they still got some cleanup to do. They still have some beverages in the cooler over there. Yeah. Man, be happy. Pretty soon this is all going to be rubble. Out here, this was the entrance I used to always come in. It's the closest to the freeway. They're doing like a Halloween carnival back here right now. Restrooms are down there. But as you can see, there's like a pumpkin patch Halloween carnival thing happening here in the parking lot at the moment. Right now we're standing above the where the movie theater used to be. Right below me is where I saw some of the movies that shaped me. I mean, you know, I've been coming to this mall easily since late 70s, I think 79. And Burger King used to be right here, I believe. It's either this spot or this spot was a Burger King. But anyway, yes, the movies I saw here, man, life-changing. And when I say helped shape me, I mean the person I've become, you know, the horror guy. A lot of those films, those experiences happened in this mall, right below where I'm standing right now, at the UA Cinema. This mall had 2 theaters. It had a 4-theater indoor cinema, and it had 2 outdoors, like a twin theater on the outside of the mall in the parking lot. We'll cover that in a little bit. This used to be Mrs. Fields. Mrs. Fields at one point was near the center of the mall, but it moved over to here years ago. Now it used to be, no, it's not on this level, I'm trying to think. As you can see, there's a lot of people just kind of cruising around, getting one last look. This John's Incredible Pizza Company took over years ago. And, I mean, took a whole section away from the mall. You can see the people moving their stuff out. Today is supposedly the last day that they can get their stuff out. So many memories here, man. It's crazy. The center of the mall here made a big transformation rather. I think around mid-80s, this whole center of the mall was completely redone. So there didn't used to be any buildings in the middle of the mall here. It was all these walkways. I'll show some pictures I found of what it used to look like. There were all these walkways that went to the center of the mall, and then down here there was a sub-level that actually went down to a food court that was in the center of the mall, around basically a circular middle of the mall, sub-level, not a complete floor down, but probably maybe half a floor down, that you step down into it, and it was a food court. I remember there being like I think there was an Orange Julius down there. One of the things I think that really helped kill this mall was when Target decided to close these doors at all hours. Without access for the shoppers at Target to go right into the mall, it kind of, I don't know, I think they lost their incentive to come in and potentially do some shopping. So that wasn't a good thing for the mall. I mean, I understand why they were doing it, security reasons. Things were getting crazy with shoplifting and whatnot. That's not a good thing, but you know, it's an amazing piece of architecture, which is now just a relic and is just going to become a memory of something, you know, a thing of the past. You know, I've never understood really why malls have died. I mean, I get it, the online shopping thing has been a huge factor. But me personally, I've always enjoyed going out and, you know, shopping, being able to have that experience of going to a nice air-conditioned building, especially living here in Southern California where it's so hot. So they're packing up at the jewelry store finally. Took the sign down already. And just that feeling of, you know, making it an event, you know, like going and, you know, grabbing lunch at the mall and doing your shopping. You know, it was an experience. But unfortunately, it didn't last. This place finally, every time I've come here, this place has been closed. And I've never even seen the friggin' lights on. Let's see. So I have a really strong memory of an area over here. So this used to be Auntie Anne's. But right back here, in the late 70s, early 80s, where this Lux Buffet is, there used to be an arcade. This is on the top level. A lot of people remember the lower level arcade, which was called Time Out. But this was called Oz. It had a big window that was a big O and Z next to it. But you'd look through the O and look into the arcade. Had a very brown and orange color scheme. But it was right here where this Lux Buffet once stood. Another person told me they remember it being called the Sega Center. I don't recall that. I just remember Oz. And it had that color scheme. Now, I collect vintage arcade machines. Not that I collect them like, you know, I have a ton of them. I have a decent amount, but I have my own little mini arcade in my house. And I had a guy that comes and repairs them, because you got, you know, when you have these kinds of machines, you got to have upkeep on them. Well, I was talking to the gentleman that repairs my machines, and he told me he used to work at Oz, and he actually had, well, that's something you don't see every day. That's funny. He told me he used to work at Oz, and I said, you know, I cannot find any photographs or anything online that pertains to that place ever existing. I mean, if you look Westminster Mall, Oz, Arcade, you can't find anything. And he said he had a couple photos from when he used to work there. So he sent them to me. Now, mind you, they look like they could be taken almost anywhere. But you can see that orange-brown color scheme. And when I looked at those photos, I did kind of have a flashback to that time, you know. And it was pretty amazing to like just see those and know that, wait, I wasn't crazy. I really did go there. I mean, I knew I went there. I knew I had, but it's one of those things that you're just not sure when you haven't seen it in close to 50 years, you know. Did that place really exist? Now, this place, I believe, was open up till yesterday. I used to love these little areas where you could just chill. It's a little chill area. You just sit down on these comfy couches and overlook, you know, the mall or the Carousel. Now right there, this right there, that used to be Spencer's Gifts years ago. Spencer's was over here. We'll point that out in a minute. Then it moved down there, and then it moved back over here. Now, mind you, this is over a course of close to 50 years that I've been coming here. I guess more, a little over 40 years I've been coming here. To be fair, I think the first time I came here was it's got to be 78. I remember one of the oldest movies I remember seeing here was Amityville Horror. And I have a real distinct memory of that. I think Amityville Horror was 1979. So I came here it was my friend Kenny and Scott, and I believe it was Scott's mom that took us. And I'll have a story about that when we're leaving. There was a specific thing that happened that night that, as a kid, really freaked me out. So right here, this is where Spencer's last was. Now, this is where it first was in the 80s, but then moved down there, as I pointed out, and then Suncoast opened here. And then Suncoast closed, and Spencer's moved back. Kind of strange. But this was Spencer's. Fun fact, Spencer's was my first legit job ever. Not at this mall, but Mission Viejo Mall. That was 1988. I worked at Spencer's. And that was a blast, man. That's back when Spencer's was cool. That's back when Spencer's was literally, like the only place you could get Halloween masks. And being a mask nerd and a horror guy and all that stuff, that was the place you got masks. And I remember just loving working there. Plus, you get all the mall rats, man. All the girls. I definitely got a couple of girlfriends from working at Spencer's. Had what we call the sex. That's right, kids, I had sex. I had sexy time at Spencer's. I don't know why I decided to talk like Johnny Carson. But, sex and Johnny, that works, right? No? Okay. This Kauai Claus was open pretty close to the end. Oh, yep, everybody here getting their last bit of stuff out. Opening soon, huh? JCPenney's. I think, they are still open. I think today is their last day of business. But to get in there, we'd have to go in from the outside, as they, like Target, closed off this area to get into the mall quite some time ago. People in there getting their last 60 to 80% off deals. You never know, we might find a bargain in there. I doubt it. To think of the memories that were made here. Kids having a good time, You wonder what's going to happen to this stuff. Are they going to donate it to some place? I don't know. Don't remember what this was. Some graffiti in here. I like the Family Guy artwork here. Hey Peter, what happened to the Westminster Mall? That's kind of says it all right there, right? Just like malls, the American dream has been lost. It's very symbolic. And this is cool too, like what's gonna happen to this? This thing is made out of fences or fence material. Oh. Final walkthrough. Now we'll head downstairs, do one last walkthrough downstairs. Uh-oh. Turn the lights on and off. Ooh. Yeah, I was in the mood for love, but then they closed the store, you know, which kind of killed it for me. Anime Attack. It's one thing that's interesting about a lot of these malls as they started to die and storefronts, you know, started to become empty. A lot of these anime stores started to fill in. These weird, like cheap, like Japanese type stores. I don't really understand what it is about that, but that became a thing. So all those are closed, so we got to go down this escalator over here. See, there's another one. Anime Effects. Yeah, it's like these weird like anime discount stores started to fill all these empty stores. I don't know. All right, so let's go check out downstairs. I'm gonna turn things around a bit. And since we've already seen these parts that I'm going through, take a look at my pretty mug for a second. I got my Reggie shirt on. Reg man, badass, the OG badass. All right, so now we're gonna head downstairs, check out the lower level. Yeah, and the last time I was here, they had this whole like sort of arts and crafts fair happening here, which was part of this store. That was never freaking open every time I came here. It always looked like they had some cool stuff too. Well, we're gonna end with this over here. We'll go this way, and then we'll end over here, because I got some of my best stories about things over there. Never went in John's, but it took over this entire area. Thing was huge. I've been inside the one in Buena Park Mall, and I was always shocked just how freaking big it is. It's like Chuck E. Cheese on steroids. This was the Van shoe store, no longer. Another Tokyo, as you can see, Tokyo something. It was another one of those anime stores. Same with Small Wonders. I think they sold some of that stuff too. Wow, this is looking like it's just a storage area. Yeah, so down here was the lower level. Elevator. I believe this was the only elevator in the mall, as far as in the main part of the mall. Well, the good news is security just walked by me, didn't say anything, so I think they've given up on caring, which is good. But sometimes they can be weird about it, but it's like, you guys are tearing it down. What do you care at this point? You know.
Okay? What I'm saying?
Let's see. I don't know what this was. The backside of let's take a look in there. Huh. That's what it looked like. Sad watching people pack up. What's going to happen to these hot rods? It's like, who actually owns those? You know? The vending machines, the little, you know, amusement park-ish rides. I was here a couple weeks ago. I actually bought a couple Halloween items in this store while they were still open. Oh, there's those pumpkin lights I wanted. Oh well. Now this is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. Who would come to a mall and pay money to have your own private cubicle? Your private secured focus cube. All right. Now, look at this thing. Whose terrible idea was this? I mean, you're in a mall with windows. If you were sitting in there working, people would be looking in on you going, "What you doing, dude?" You know? And why the hell would you come to a mall to do that? This makes no sense. This was obviously like a Banana Republic or Abercrombie. Abercrombie, I think is what they're called. Yeah. Yeah. That's what it looks like. Last chance store, I'd say. Yeah. This guy's actually moving to Buena Park Mall. I talked to him. Pretty cool guy, actually. But they will be at the Buena Park Mall soon. They're still open. This might be the actual last shoe store, or last store actually open here in the mall. Bet you get some good deals today. Still love this thing. Put the coin in it and watch it swirl around forever. And if you're smart, you grab the coin right before it hits the bottom. How about you guys? I feel like being a little rejuvenated. Look, we're in the Rejuvenation Center. This is the entire Rejuvenation Center. Crazy. Now, I really hope something happens with this carousel. This thing's been here forever, and it's a beautiful carousel. So I hope somebody buys it. And this is the old Spencer's right here I talked about before. Yep. This was Spencer's circa 1980, late 80s, I think. Frederick's over there. This place has been a weird discount junk store forever, or at least for the last few years. All the small things. Little Blink-182 playing in here. Target. These nails. A little cobbler. Those are pretty creepy looking little flying baby things, whatever those are. Hello. Frederick's over here. The Denim Express. They look like they're still in business. Like, they legit look like they ain't done hardly shit. Well, there's some boxes, stuff boxed up. Sorry. They're packing it up too. Beauty supply, packing it up. A smile they'll never forget. Okay then. Oh, so heading back through, since I'm walking through spots I've already covered to get to the next spot, I'll turn the camera on me for a moment just to mix it up, to let you know I'm really the guy doing it. I'm sure you're all questioning it. Look at this thing. This thing looks like, look at this VR. I'm sure those are very sanitary. Who the hell would want to put that shit on in the middle of the mall, blind yourself, and trust that nobody's screwing with you? All right. Let me get past the Banana Republic / Abercrombie. I can't remember. They all look the same, those places. So, and we will turn it back into that direction. Oh man, what a sad sight. Yeah. Don't know what that was. Your future is bright, it says. I beg to differ. Victoria's Secret. Secret is out. They are closed. Doing my best to not film people. Be respectful. Maybe if they get in the shot, big whoop. Oh wow, there are some kids enjoying the little play area for one last time. That's nice. So there was this like Christian radio station thing. I don't know what the purpose was of it, but it was right here. They had a big display, this weird retro display, which was kind of cool, to be honest with you. Trying to suck you in to loving Jesus. But it was all right here up to just like 2 weeks ago. They cleaned it out. And it's gone. Bathrooms over here. Uh-oh, somebody raided the vending machine. Somebody raided it. No bueno. Should use the restroom while I'm over here. All right. Potty break complete. This part of JCPenney's is definitely empty. Guess we could take a quick stroll through there. Although, you know, I wasn't a big department store guy. You know, most kids, most teenagers don't really hit the department stores, you know. Those were the stores I avoided when I would come to these. So right over here, there's the management offices were down here. And I shot these a few weeks back. They had these really cool photos lining the walls of old images of the mall. I'll show some of those because they're really cool. Some of the only photos I can find online of this mall. That's one thing that's really bizarre to me. This place has been here for over 50 years, and there's literally next to no vintage footage or photos from this mall online. I don't understand it. It's weird. But it was really cool bumping into those guys yesterday. I mean, I wanted to kind of get this done yesterday, but there was so many YouTubers here yesterday just trying to do dead mall videos. And it was nice talking to them because we all just reminisced over our memories of this place. And it was cool because, you know, I was able to verify a few things that I thought like, hey, was this store here? Was that there? Blah, blah, blah. And I was able to verify a few of those things, which was nice. The Shoe Palace. Yeah. Now, this video isn't that exciting, but at least, you know, I'm documenting just to have it, because pretty soon this is going to be rubble. Now right here, this used to be a store called Wicks and Sticks. It probably closed in the 80s. But if you remember 70s and 80s, there was all those fancy candles, like, you know, ones that look like castles and wizards and shit. That's what this place used to sell. And now this used to be where the bathrooms were. The bathrooms were down here. So if you went down here and around this corner, this is where the restrooms used to be back in the 70s and 80s. And at some point, they put in that other restroom over by the little playland, and that became the permanent restroom. But the restrooms used to be right here. And at some point, they renovated this, but these were the restrooms. And I remember that because it was the only restrooms in the entire mall, unless you went into the movie theater or a department store. Those were the restrooms for the whole mall. So, anyway, a little bit of history there. Take one last look at the directory, shall we? See where everything was. It's crazy to me that like nobody ever like cataloged these old directories online. Like I would love to see if anybody watching this has photos of this mall from the 70s or 80s or 90s, or pictures of the old directories or anything, please contact me because I would love to see them. I mean, I've talked to like mall management and they say they don't keep anything. It's pretty lame. Well, we're coming to the end of our tour. And what is the most significant area of the mall to me, which is the movie theater. Because the movie theater is where I saw so many classics, man. Like I said earlier, Amityville Horror, the original Evil Dead. I have an amazing story about going to see the original Evil Dead. I believe I tell it in my Evil Dead prop collection video, so I won't rehash that story. But if you want a really interesting story of what we had to go through to see Evil Dead here, You should check that one out. Evil Dead here, saw Extro, saw Creep Show, saw Monty Python, The Meaning of Life, saw Time Bandits here, saw Dreamscape. All these, you know, they just start flooding in memories of, and this, where this store is, was the movie theater. This had, it was 4 screens, 2 that faced the direction we're looking at right now, and there was 2 screens that faced this direction. So when you walked in, let's see if over here, I believe the entrance to the theater was right about here. And when you walked in, there was 2 theaters over here, and there was 2 theaters straight ahead. And the snack bar was over here. I have one picture, there was one picture I was able to find online that you could see the front of this place, and it was shot from like this angle here. UA Cinema. But then later it changed into an Edward Cinema. So this is where I used to always park. I would park out here, and then I would always come in this entrance because the theater was here. The arcade, when it moved from Oz to Time Out, was right across from it. But yeah, this here, this is where I would park. And right over here, another little bit of history. That up there is the food court when we were looking out the window earlier. Right over here, the Sears. There used to be a lot of you remember Ticketmaster. Well, before Ticketmaster, there used to be something called Ticketron. It was another ticket company. And Ticketron used to operate out of Sears. And the Ticketron window was over here. It's kind of blocked off now. You can't really see it, but I can show you where it was at least. I remember this is where I got my Kiss and Motley Crue tickets back in the day. It was over here. So this is the Sears. This is the front of the Sears, but there's this area over to the side that was like a garden center kind of thing. And that's where Ticketron was. And I got my Kiss and Motley Crue tickets there. It was Motley Crue Too Fast for Love tour / Boys in Action tour. Kiss Creatures of the Night, March 26, 1983, Irvine Meadows. So this is the Sears. See, last thing that was here was a Spirit Halloween. For a couple of years it was a Spirit. Right over here, this is where Ticketron used to be. This middle section where the brick is, they walled this up at some point, but they used to be open here. You'd walk into here and the Ticketron window was in here. I don't know how many people remember that, but it's a fact. Wow. It's going to be so bizarre driving by. See the 405 freeway is right here. I drive by this all the time going to LA. And it's going to be so bizarre driving by this mall and it not being there. I mean, my entire life, I would drive by this mall. Now they're saying, oh wait, you were born in 1970, this mall opened in 74. Well, I didn't move to California to 75, 76. So, yes, my entire life, this mall has been here since I've been in California. So it is going to be bizarre to not have it just be there, you know? These are the things you take for granted. You take for granted stuff like this.
We're about to get here is a view that we won't be seeing much longer. And that is of the mall from the freeway. looking the way it looks. There it is. You can see the closing signs on the outside of the mall. This view isn't going to last much longer. Wow, empty.
And all the people like myself who are sad about its demise and it no longer being here. I mean, really, the only ones we have to blame are ourselves. I mean, we didn't come support it, you know? I have a little bit of an excuse. I don't live near here anymore. I live, you know, a good half an hour or so from here, so it's not convenient. This isn't my local mall anymore, but growing up, this was my local mall. So, this and Buena Park Mall. I grew up in a city called Stanton. Oh, wow. Kind of forgot about this guy. These guys used to be inside the mall. These used to be in the mall, I think, where that little play area was. I believe I have some pictures of these. I didn't even realize one of these was out here. So we'll go look at those right now. So you can see, like back in the day, remember those? They were like these bears sculptures that you could play on. They're super heavy. So this is what I'm talking about when I start talking about the different tier levels. This was like, so this here in the middle was kind of like first level, and then this was that drop level. And this was obviously taken, I think, maybe after some changes have been made, but the food court was here. These were all the food places. There's a Miss Fields, what it used to be up there. I remember that. Buffums, yeah. But I'm trying to remember what that other, there's one more that I can't seem to place in my mind. Macy's, Buffums. I had a girlfriend that worked at the place I'm trying to, oh, see, I was correct. TGI Fridays. I pointed that out when we came in. It was a TGI Fridays. I wonder what's going to happen to these photos. You see stuff like this, you immediately think like Dawn of the Dead, you know, that sort of aesthetic. But I do love these old photos. Oh man, look at the food court when it was popping. Hot dog on a stick, Panda Express. Yeah, right over there, that's where the Orange Julius was, and Mrs. Fields there. There's another shot of the mall like I was talking about with the lower level. As you can see, the way it was configured before, there was a lot of wasted space in the center. So I guess them redoing it freed up a lot of store space. Yeah. And this is just back hallways. Yeah. It's funny how those back hallways of malls all look identical. I mean, I've walked through a lot of them, and they all just have the exact same look, you know? That's pretty cool. Wonder if there's another one over there. I'll go look. But, yeah, I grew up in Stanton, and Buena Park Mall and Westminster Mall were kind of a midway point. I was in the middle of the two of them. So this was the better of the two malls, for sure. Westminster Mall is by far the better mall. So this would be the one we'd come to. But, yeah, it's just a shame, man. Now it doesn't look like they put a bear over here. That's kind of strange, because there was a few of them inside the mall. They just decided to stick one outside, apparently. Yeah, there used to be this, for a while here in the 2000s, there was this place called Book Off. And they had like, apparently they moved to Garden Grove, somebody told me. But it was like a used DVD bookstore. It had some pretty cool stuff. Wow. Welcome to Westminster Mall. It's crazy. I went on the website. Westminster Mall did not have the website, the Facebook page. Neither of them said anything about it closing, which I thought was pretty lame. It's like, come on. I mean, I bet you there's a ton of people that are going to see this thing begin to be torn down and have no clue that it was, they had a chance to visit it one last time. It just blows my mind that this was the theater. Right in this room, magic happened for me. Dreams, See, oh, look back there. If you look close in the back, you can see the bathroom. I bet you that was part of the theater bathrooms. I bet you they were. That's crazy. This blows my mind. And Time Out, the arcade, used to be right here. So when that closed, then that Book Off place took over this area. But yeah, right here, this was the arcade. So, yeah. You have to understand, when I look at this and think that this is where the UA Cinema used to be, and thinking about the films I saw here and how much that means to the person I am today, and what I've become, and it's crazy. It's crazy to think about. I mean, right in there, me and my friends, were transported into different worlds, fantasy and fiction and horror and comedy, and it's sad. It really bums me out. I'm glad I got to see it one last time and document this and share it with you, but now I'm going to drive by that freeway and look to whatever's standing there now. Maybe it's going to be somebody's apartment, probably, and think, wow, you're living right where I saw Evil Dead in 1981, So crazy. I'm going to walk outside for a second here. SoCal Thunder now open. No idea what that is. We have to go take a look. This out here, see where the Best Buy is and everything. That used to be, remember the store Best? It was just called Best. It had like a red logo. That used to be Best. And there's the outside of the JCPenney's. If it's open, it says closing. I remember when we used to take the bus here, the bus would drop us off kind of on the other side of the building here, and we would walk in. We used to have to take I think it was number 39 or 29 on Beach Boulevard, and we'd take that over to, took us forever from Stanton to get here, because it used to go all over the place. It was also the same bus we used to take to go to the beach. We'd go down to Main Street in Huntington Beach whenever we wanted to go to the beach, and that took like freaking 2 hours with all the stops. The reason I'm walking out here is this place here, which says Dave's something or other. That building used to be the UA cinema. There was a movie theater in the mall that had four screens, and then outside of the mall, here in the parking lot, there was this one that had 2 screens. So this used to be a movie theater. It then later became, I think, Babies R Us or something at one point. But I saw some epic films here. I saw Ghostbusters here. I remember me and my buddy Corey Wong, we basically camped out overnight in lawn chairs in front of this building to see Return of the Jedi. And I'm shocked our parents let us do that, because I would have been 12, 13 years old, I guess, at that time. But maybe somebody was with us from, maybe one of the parents stayed with us, maybe Corey's parents. I don't remember. But anyway, just had to document this because this is a big part of this Westminster Mall history, was the outside UA theater. And looking at this, pretty soon this landscape is going to change in a big way. Let's go back inside. Well, you can only walk around and reminisce so much. It's hard to not get a little emotional walking out of here for the last time. I'm trying not to be that sap that's going to cry. But, yep. This is it. Westminster Mall, I appreciate you. This was an important place. They ask, why do they come here?
Some kind of instinct, memory of what they used to do. This was an important place in their lives.
Can't say it no better than that. It's the truth. And it's just another day. If I'm gonna get demonetized, I'm gonna do it. It's just another day. Anyway, signing out from Westminster Mall. I appreciate you. Thank you for 50 years of good times. I'm not crying. Not gonna do it. So we'll end it where we began. I'm pretty sure maybe in the near future I'll be doing one of these for Buena Park Mall, because it looks like it's on its last legs too. But the thing I find interesting is that today's youth, this is me being the old man shaking my fist, yelling, "Get off my lawn." But kids today don't understand the nostalgia, because from the point they're born, their lives are completely documented. When I was a kid, we really didn't have a camera around the house. There aren't a lot of photos of me as a kid, especially in comparison to, I bet you I've taken more photos this past year than were taken all through my childhood. It wasn't a thing. Like, we didn't have a video camera. There isn't footage of me as a little kid, with the exception of that one Kiss video that my friend's dad shot of us dressed up as Kiss. Beyond that, the most current video of me was like age 16. So, as lucky as kids are today to be able to have this technology, there's also something about not having it that is a beautiful thing, and having to live in here in your head and having the memories and cherishing them a lot more than something that you just delete, maybe not even save. But anyway, it's bittersweet. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video to some extent. You know, maybe you grew up coming here, or you were just curious, or you like dead mall videos or whatever. But for me, this was a special place, and I'm gonna miss it.
They don't know why, they just remember that they want to be in here.
What the hell are they?
They're us, that's all.